So welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about React. So there is a big word of mouth going around React.js and its impressive features. And company like Facebook, Instagram, Netflix, they all use React. So I guess this is the right time to jump into React. You can learn React and its basic concept, and it definitely going to enhance your skill and build your career. So let's straight jump into the topic. What is React? So React is a JavaScript library used in web development to build interactive element on website. So it's an open source JavaScript library, and you can say that it is developed by Facebook, and in React, so it's a very simple and lightweight library, and it handles only the view layer. So it is not like Angular or Ember, which is a module view framework. So it only deals with the V part of MVC architecture, and it has some great features. So if we talk about features, so let me uh, write down it. So it uses virtual DOM, and then there is a JSX feature. uh, Also it uses Babel and their components. So what is virtual DOM? So let's start with virtual DOM. So previously what's happening, that there are JavaScript framework that uses DOM manipulation. So whenever there is something change in the application, so let's say you have a 10 checklist, and one of the you item you are going to check. So you are updating only one item, but those framework is updating the entire list and creating those list again. So this makes the application slower. And here where the React application came into picture, so it uses a virtual DOM. So virtual DOM is basically there is a corresponding virtual DOM for every DOM object in React application, and a virtual DOM is a representation of a DOM object like a lightweight copy. So what React is doing? So when you render a JSX element, every single virtual DOM object gets updated. So let's say I will just create a pictorial representation of this. So let's say it's a virtual DOM. You can write it as a virtual DOM. So it's a virtual DOM, and then you can say that this is updated DOM. So you can see here that this is the virtual DOM, and when you update one checklist from that entire list, so this is previously it's a square, then now the DOM object becomes circle. So this is the so it what React does now. React uses a diff algorithm. So like this. So diff algorithm, what it does, it compare the new virtual DOM with the pre-updated version and figure out exactly which virtual DOM object have changed, and this process is called diffing. And after this, once the React know that which virtual DOM object have changed, then React update those objects, and only those objects on the real DOM is updated. So what it does, it now it after checking the updated thing, that circle thing, so it goes to the actual DOM and then update that part only. So this is the actual DOM. So you can see here that it not updated the square, only going to update the circle. So and the rest of the application remains same. So this is how it makes it perform faster, and React helps to the performance of the application is very fast. And this is the virtual DOM concept. Now we are going to talk about JSX. So JSX is basically we can put JavaScript and HTML together in JSX. So now we are going to talk about JSX. So I'm going to show you one example. So you can see here that this is where you are using the JavaScript and the HTML code together. So we call this thing a JSX, and React uses this JavaScript extension very much. So this is the JSX, and then JavaScript also uses Babel. So what Babel do? So Babel, we can say that it's a tool chain that is mainly used to convert ECMAScript 2015 plus code into a backward compatible version of JavaScript in current and older browser or environment. So basically nowadays ES6 is coming, so ES7 is also coming. So these are new syntax. So we don't have to wait for the browser support if we use Babel. Babel take those syntax and then convert it to the older version which browser understand, and then the browser just execute those code. So if I show you one example about Babel, so just a second. So here is one example. So you can see that this is a Babel input. So we are using an arrow function here, and we are using map function. So it's a ES6 arrow function. So once Babel runs, so it will output this to the ES5 equivalent, and it remove the arrow function. It make it to the older code which browser understand. So this is the main function of Babel in React, and this is very much important in React because it, you know, make the backward compatibility thing. Another thing in the React is component. So let's say if you are building a web page, and in the web page this is header, and then this is a sidebar, and this is the main content area. So this is your web page. So what are components? So components are like a JavaScript function only, and you in the React application you can break those thing into different components. So basically, each component in the JavaScript function returns a piece of code that represent a piece of web page. So to build a web page, we call this function in certain order and put together the result and show it to the user. So you can see here. So we can create for to create this web page. We can create different components, and we call the components like header component. Then there is a sidebar component and a main component, and call these three components together in a parent component, and then display those in a web page. So these are the basic component functionality. And the components also, there are two type of component in React. So one is class component, and other is functional component. So React uses these two types of component, and nowadays React uses functional component more. So we are moving towards more kind of functional component. Class component is a older approach of React. So the basic difference in the class and functional component is syntax. So if I show you one example here, so you can see that this is the functional component. Here we are using the arrow function, and the same thing we are returning a JSX. You can see that this is a JSX code, and we are returning the JSX directly in functional component. But if we talk about the class component, so this is a class component. Same thing the class is doing. It will display the hello world as it is displaying the hello world in the functional component. But in class component, you always have to use this render function. So you have to return the JSX inside this render function, and it also extends the react.component class. So these are the syntax different, and then there are lifecycle methods in React that we can talk about later in later video. So this is the basic difference of class and the functional component. So this is whole concept of React. So React uses the virtual DOM, which makes the application faster. Then it's using JSX, and the Babel used to convert the code into the older code. And then there is class component and functional component React, which is like component nothing. It's like a JavaScript function for which we can create and then show it to the web page. So these are the important building blocks of React component. Now I'm going to show you how to install a React application using the Create React app. So Create React app is a command that is developed by Facebook, and it create a boilerplate for the React. So it create a folder structure, and you can directly just execute this command, and a boilerplate of React will be created with basic files and package.json and dependency. So to use that Create React app, you can directly just do it like this. So you can use the command npx create react app, and then give your project name. So like I'm going to give this React part 1, and it will install all the dependency that is needed to run the React application. And then it also install package.json necessary files like app.js and all, and then we can run the application. So let's wait, and it will take around 1 to 2 minutes. So after that, so you can see that it is installing Babel and all. and I will show you that where it goes. So installing the packages, and also it supports Jest. So Jest is a testing framework, and then it also install ESLint. So it supports ESLint, and it's already provide that feature in Create React app. And other method to install this React application is using Webpack config. So that is older method, and this is a new one. So if you want to create your own folder structure and create your more control to the application, then you can use that Webpack config. Otherwise, Create React app will help you to build the application faster, and you just instantly install the application and start it. So it's just downloading this dependency, React scripts and all. So and building the packages. So this is React DOM. You can see that DOM is installing. This is the testing library. So React also use Jest and Engine, but this is the new library, testing library, which help us to write down some unit test cases and all. So you can write the unit test case using this React testing library. It's a good library, and we can use it for writing the test case. So in later videos, I'm going to talk about test case, unit test case and all, and then props and states and all. So you can see that uh, React part 1, this folder is created, and inside this folder you can see that these are the files that is created, like package.json and package.json. This is the main file, and where you can install some dependencies and all. So whatever dependency or whatever library you want, you can just put it here and then run npm install. So it installs some dependency, and inside the node modules you can see that this Babel. So it installed the Babel already, so it's using it, and this is the testing library, and also it's provide the ESLint feature. So all the things that this React application needed, it installed already. And inside the source you can see that there is a app.js file. So this is the main file. Inside this some code is written. So, as I talked about, this is a functional code, and you can say this is JSX. So now I'm going to run this. So to run this, you can see in the package.json there are some scripts. So start, build, test and eject. So I'm going to use this start script. So if you want to run the application, you have to run application. So you have to go to the folder like React part 1, and inside it you have to run this script command. So npm start, and it will start the application instantly, and it will run on top some of the code. So it's saying that I already used 3000, so it will run on another code. So it's running on 3003 now, and you can see. So it's going to, yeah, so this is now application is running. So this is the React application. You already have the file, and these edit src app, these all are coming from the app.js. So you can see that edit src. So if you change the code like add, but I guess it, yeah, so it is reflected here. So this is the view part which is handling, and now we are in the later videos, I'm going to create some components and use states and props. So in React we use states and props that I will talk in next video. So this is all about React and creating React application and the basic of React. So please subscribe the channel, view